Hello, chat. Hello, we're coming online. How's it going? We're starting up. They can hear you guys now.
Oh shit! Hi, chat.
We're doing good. I think this looks right. This looks right to me. I am going to check the audio.
How are you?
The intro.
How are you, Jeff?
Huh?
How are you doing?
I'm
How
okay.
are you doing
I'm like
from the
recovering.
No one cares how Jeff is.
I'm recovering. I think I'm like still kind of sick. Everyone in my family's sick now, though. My kid woke up. I mean, they're like, it's like a different disease every day.
Spreading.
Right, like they had like just a regular cold, and then like a sore throat.
It's mutating too.
And now Emmy's got like a red eye. Her eye's all red, and which happens with the contacts every few like months or about once a year or something like that. So she was overdue. So we got that contact out and giving her antibiotics in her eye and stuff like that. So yeah, but
yeah, I don't know.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better all the time. All right, let's check the cameras. Where the hell is Mike? Where the hell is Mike's camera?
Turned it
You
on.
were streaming
Yes,
on
you did.
Twitch?
It's not your fault.
Oh, never mind. Oh, you were streaming on Twitch.
I was streaming on Twitch, yes.
That's funny, Daniel. But where are you streaming?
Oh, that's why I got a notification.
Was helping out, or I'm helping Donnie get his Steam Deck set up for like all the other stores and stuff, and for crimes.
Small, dude.
Yes, I made a tiny mic. And so I was kind of figuring that out live on Twitch, because I figured like that's a better use of my time today than like trying to figure out what's fake and what's real.
No, Beef. I was actually the one who was sleeping until just now because I couldn't sleep all night and finally got some sleep, and then things just kept interrupting me, and it was awful. At some point, somebody dropped off a motorcycle at my house, and it shouldn't be at my house, and I had to be like, please don't leave this motorcycle here. And they're like, it's kind of annoyed. And I was like, please.
What are you talking about?
So it was
He's doing crimes. He's doing another kind of crime.
It's my dad's motorcycle, and they fixed it. And for some reason, they sent it to my house.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the one that was stored at my house.
Dad rides a
I had to
motorcycle?
call. Yeah, well, he had a midlife crisis, big shock, right?
Yeah,
but he, so I had to call my dad and be like, "Can you please tell this person to take this motorcycle?" And then the guy was not real happy about it, but took the motorcycle away. And I don't blame him, but still, I'm not gonna let him leave a motorcycle at my house. Sorry.
People might get the wrong idea about you and think you're cool.
I went on a ride with him one time. That was all I ever needed. No, thank you. I tell you what, that's not for
cool.
Mikey.
He likes the Aladdin for Genesis, so he is cool. Unlike other people.
Okay, listen, you might make you cool, but it doesn't make you right. All right.
Those are the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough. All right, I am tweeting. We tested the. You guys heard the music, right?
I think so. So long ago.
There we go.
There it
I
is.
don't even know what's going on. I'm not gonna lie to you. Cypress fool, everybody.
All right.
My neighborhood would probably not like it if I was riding a motorcycle around. Actually, I'll tell you what. I mean, I wouldn't. To be fair, motorcycles are obnoxious.
All right. I think we're ready. I have the rundown.
Oh, you should have put the GamesBeat Decides 420 and make a joke. See?
That's a good point.
And it's in a 242.
Yeah, you're right.
No.
I messed up pretty bad.
No, you shouldn't. Actually, you're right, Mike. No, don't do it.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. Mike is right.
That's a cheap joke. That's what ruined April Fools. That's why I have to now not only deal with April Fools, but deal with a lot of people complaining about April Fools, which is almost as bad. It's because of cheap, lazy jokes like that.
Okay. I think it's time to
Beef.
Beef. What do you guys think?
I love, by the way, when you pushed that button that your Grubb Snacks feed started dying like crazy yesterday. It was hilarious to me.
Yes,
it
killed straight up died.
I was like, I did this. Good.
Yeah, the beef killed it.
Dude, I knew you were going to do that. As soon as he keeps pressing that button, and last time he pressed the beef button, so he's gonna press the beef button eventually. And it happened.
You can't stop the beef ever since this whole world.
So far, so good. I've hit the beef button and we're still going strong. But we haven't started recording yet, which I'm sure will break everything. All right, I think we're ready. You ready, Mike?
Right. Have fun.
Yes,
thanks,
thank you. Bye,
Don't do April Fool stuff, please.
Okay, we'll try not to. All right.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, not enough RAM to handle the beef
I
commands.
don't think I can convince anybody that there's any secret characters in Street Fighter 2. Sorry.
Yeah, I think, and that's the only good way to do a joke. So, all right, Mike, I'm gonna do the countdown. I'm gonna hit the button. You ready?
Yes, sir.
5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb, and with me is
Like Minotti.
In today's episode, we have news and games. First, Mike, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I was getting a little bit extra sleep here. Worked because it was a rough night. People were trying to leave motorcycles that I didn't want and all sorts of wacky stuff. But yeah, everything is okay now.
Yeah, I already made you explain that story, so if anyone listening to the podcast version wants an explanation, you'll have to check. Maybe I'll clip it to the end of the show, so just listen all the way to the end.
Yeah, I didn't realize, I did not tweet about the show, so I did that, so now we are tweeted and everything, and we're great. Yep, so how are you doing, Jeff?
It's April Fool's Day. I'm doing great. It's my favorite day of the year.
Is it, though? The only people who did good April Fool's jokes in games were EGM back in the day. Blizzard used to do good ones. I remember when they had like the World of Warcraft Atari demake. That was funny.
Yep. Those kinds of ones, like anytime anyone puts any effort into it, usually it's pretty fun at least. And like so I like all the Google ones usually. Like Mario Kart is in Google Maps now. I'm like, okay, that's fine. This is fine. Like, I'm okay with this. I actually, and I'm like, if people are trying to make jokes and they're bad, I also don't care. But it's just I'm tuning it out now at this point in my life, where I'm just mostly not even paying attention.
Sure.
I forgot it was coming up. Here we are. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Well, you don't want to publish any more stories based off of April Fool's jokes. So.
Correct. Yes, I definitely don't want to do that. Which, I talked about that on Grubb's Next, but I did that once many years ago. It was a mistake.
I forgot about it. I'm glad you reminded me of your failure.
I'm glad you're here to talk about it. Dan Shu was like, "All right, Jeff, you made a mistake. Let me help you with this." I'm like, "Thank you, Dan Shu. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here for me." Yes. We got a lot to talk about today, but first I want to thank everybody for joining us. You get more from Mike and me at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email us, gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com. That's the plus sign. Or get us on Twitter at GamesBeat. Thank you to Carlos Zane, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. If you are listening to this on the website player widget, get the audio version like in an RSS feed or on your podcatcher of choice, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you like the show and you're watching live here on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. It really does help people find the show. So we have almost 300 people watching. We got about 50 likes. If we could close the gap, I'd really appreciate that, everybody. And then if you are listening, of course, on like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can review us on there. If you take the time to do that, that also is very helpful. Or tell a friend. That's great, too.
Tell a friend. Phone a friend.
Yes,
it's all good.
It's all good. Join the Discord. It's discord.gg/GameMess. The link is in the description. Thank you to our mods who've been very helpful and making sure that the community is very great on the Discord and here on the channel. And then if you want to get to the secret channels inside of the Discord, go to patreon.com/GameMess. That supports the show. I decided, Mike, I need to really start up that LLC and I need to trademark Game Mess and Summer Game Mess because, well, E3's dead, and we'll talk about that. But the Summer Game Mess isn't going anywhere.
I was about to say, you said you're gonna, trademark Summer Game Mess. I'm like, maybe trademark Game Mess, but yes, trademarking both of them is smart. There we go. Yeah,
Game Mess is definitely getting that's gonna be like a full thing. So we'll make that happen. I gotta talk to a lawyer, I guess. Figure it out. But Mike,
the mods are already like, pay us.
Yeah, you fools. Well,
we'll pay you April Fools. See? We're the bad guys, too.
Yes, if we can ever make enough money from this thing, I'll figure something out. All right. We have news, Mike. I figure we'll just jump right into it.
Yeah, well, first, Jeff, we're having fun on Twitter, but to be clear, I don't really care that much if you don't like Aladdin for Genesis.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, it has some problems. Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of those other Dave Perry shiny games to me, in my experience, where they all look amazing. And I was like,
Jeff,
they must be fun.
April fucking fools, you stupid donkey! What the hell is wrong with you? It is
No.
such a good game.
No, it's not.
It is by far the stupidest thing you have ever said. It is a fantastic 16. I don't even understand how you don't like it, because it's everything you like about old video games. It's just a very snappy,
Kinda floaty.
very intuitive, a little float. Oh God. 2D action platformer, very straightforward, very much a video game as a video game with those incredible graphics. This opinion must have been formed back when you were a Nintendo fanboy. That's the only reason I can possibly.
It's actually
I don't get it.
recent. It was more recent than
What
that.
the hell?
Because I'm like, I like put it together in my head. I'm like, every time I try to play one of these games from Shiny, I never have a good time, and I'm like, what? They look so
Virgin.
good.
That was proto Shiny. This is Virgin Interactive.
I know. I just don't want to be like
thing.
keep saying Dave Perry sucks at games. I'm trying not to be that way, but yeah, I don't know. They all listen. It is of those games. It probably is the most fun one, but I don't have that much fun with it.
Oh my God! I'm gonna make you play. I'm gonna make you have. What's your ear? I don't understand. Beef. I was, first you disparaged Cool Spot, and I have a soft spot for Cool Spot, but I get it. With Earthworm Jim, I agree with you, and I had an Earthworm Jim 2 poster in my room. Like, I liked Earthworm Jim, despite it actually kind of being miserable to play, but it just looked so good, and that was such a 90s cartoon character aesthetic that I was down with. And I was like, oh, I like this, I guess. Aladdin for Genesis is fantastic. You're crazy. You're dumb. And look, all this people try to bring in Aladdin SNES. That has nothing to do with it.
Has nothing to do with it. Correct. Nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it is good. It's good. I like the Genesis one better. Whatever. What he's saying is that he said it's a bad game, and that infuriates me. I am mad. But yes, I wanted to get that out of the way. I would say let's run a poll on if it's good or not, but I know how you operate, chat. I know what you're gonna do to me.
All right, let's go for it. That's a great idea, Mike. All right, let's create a poll. We'll put this on Spotify as well. So if you're listening on Spotify, the poll will be on there as well.
It's not what's better, SNES or Genesis. Just is
Aladdin for Genesis good? Yes or no?
Good. I forgot my flies. I hope you can all hear this. There you go.
Wow, there was a very noisy fly. But listen, I will give it another shot if you want me to play it on stream or something. Sure, why not? I know.
I want you to play it with me supervising you to make sure you have the appropriate amount of fun. Okay. I will be there.
I feel like this is going to end up with like a car battery and like jumper cables and stuff. So, all right, whatever.
And the funny thing is, the first game I do actually want to play with you in person is the Goof Troop game for the Super Nintendo, which is like that top-down Zelda co-op game that's supposed to be very good that I've never played. So there, Tom Henderson voted no. Tom, get out of here. No one asked you, Tom. I can't consider one of the best Genesis games. You're gonna tell me that like more than half of you think it's
for the Genesis.
Bad. It's not even good. It's bad. The Genesis. You still don't like the Genesis.
The Genesis is fun. It's fine. There's Gunstar Heroes is great, and there's a lot of good stuff.
Gunstar Heroes is great. You need to play
Contra Hardcore is on there, right?
Contra Hardcore is fantastic.
Yeah,
God, it's good. That's actually the best Contra game.
Mike is so mad at me. I'm having trouble getting his volume dialed in. But I guess you know what? If he's yelling at me, it's okay that he's loud. That's fine.
I'm sorry. I'm sure I'm breaking the mic a bit. I will calm down now. Mikey is zen and happy, although I'm running very low on my diet Arnold Palmer. So we'll see. I might need to top myself off there. Hey, it's Rachel. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel. I'm sorry you have to witness this. I'm sorry you have to see what Mike is like in reality.
I own that Pitfall game, Joshua, you're talking about for the Atari Jaguar. So what do you think about that?
I think that's very nice for you. I'm very happy for you. I'll give it another try, Mike. We'll do it. Aladdin, fine.
I'll play some game you want me to play that I think is bad. I'll even SteamWorld Take 2, whatever.
I mean, that you'd be lucky to play that amazing game. All right, let's get into the news. That PlayStation Plus thing happened. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, the thing that sticks out to me is I am sad about PlayStation 3 cloud streaming games. I've always hated cloud streaming. It is especially a bad solution for this, though, especially since, their technology is not that great, and almost all the PlayStation 3 games that I want to play are, shooters or action games or something where, input lag is just going to be incredibly detrimental. It's not like the PlayStation 2, at least, or PlayStation 1, where a lot of the best games were RPGs or something. That was not the case on the PlayStation 3. So, yeah, I'm not happy. Hey, Gene Park's here too. Hi, Gene. How's it going?
Gene, is Aladdin for Genesis a good game or not? We'll
Gene,
get it.
Please.
Okay, so I'll say that since talking about this all week, I've looked, I've asked, I guess there is a potential that it sounds like Sony might be working on emulation for PS3 for PS5. It might take some time.
That's fine. Let it take time. Let it take money, but just do it. Just even tell me you're working on it. Even if it takes years, that's fine. Thank you, Gene, for voting correctly on the poll.
That's where I'm at, Mike. Like, I wish they would just come out and tell us that. Like, tell us that you care about this stuff, because that is what was missing from the PS Plus announcement. It's that to me, it just seems like they didn't care about any of it. They just slapped it together, put a new name on it, and sold it again for, I guess it's a discounted price if you had both. But it just feels like they're just trying to get more money out of the same people who
intentionally downplaying it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Like, yeah, I'm like, why are you treating it like this? But
now we know this isn't very exciting, but here's what we want you to pay more money for.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, okay, well, thanks.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's also not like it's a bad thing or anything. It is just kind of their service, and it might be a better value for people who are already in that ecosystem. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the comparisons to Game Pass are sort of only useful in an abstract way, because it's not how people subscribe to these things. If you buy a system, you're trying to figure out, is it going to unlock more value for this thing I already bought? You're not saying like, oh, am I going to get that or Game Pass? No one really does that. So
sure.
I get all that, but overall,
but
it's I already kind of forgot this happened.
And criticizing.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Yes, but it's like I think one of the reasons that Greg Miller's rumors about the other PlayStation stuff happening this week, one of the reasons that stuff really took off, it's because after this PS Plus announcement, people were like, okay, well, what's next? Because that wasn't what I was waiting for.
Those rumors, are we talking about that?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So, real quick though, Jim Ryan on the on this stuff, he said subservices are not the future. Live service games are more interesting. This is like a key point where I'm like, that's actually not very encouraging to me, because you could do live service games and you could do subscription services, and they do different things. Live service games are definitely a future, and Microsoft and Sony are both going after that, and they definitely are investing in that. It's obvious from like what they've said and what they've done.
Sure.
But with the subscription service, it enables you to apply a service model to games that aren't necessarily great for being a live service. So if you have something like a Psychonauts 2, it makes more sense if it's part of this larger subscription that keeps people in this ecosystem. But you wouldn't want to turn it into a live service online multiplayer game. That makes zero sense. So I think Sony's kind of in this thing where like, okay, we're going to have our top tier, massive budget $70 games, and then we're going to have the live service games, and everything in between is going to kind of get lost. And I think
no more gravity,
right?
No more gravity rushes. No more Sackboy's Big Adventure kind of stuff, even.
Right. But maybe that changes. Maybe that's what he means when he was kind of talking about how, like, hey, these things could change in the future. Who knows what it holds? Maybe they'll be like, okay, we'll keep doing our $70 games, but we'll release something like a Gravity Rush 3 in here in the future. But it doesn't seem like that's what he's saying right now.
I always hate that kind of stuff. Like, oh, this is the thing that's the future. As if there's only ever been, like, one avenue for like game success,
yes,
or one thing that's going to be the future. That's why the whole NFT metaverse thing was always so obnoxious. People are like, oh, which one of these things will be the future? I mean, could be both. It could most likely be neither. Like subscriptions are going to be a big part of gaming's future. So are live service games. Of course, they're a big part of gaming's current and past. But it's also not too surprising. We know that is Sony's focus right now, is to get some live service game hits. They are working on a ton of them, and of course they're going to also disparage like subscriptions a bit, because they know that is what Microsoft is going big on, and they want to differentiate. So it's he's kind of just saying what we know, but he may be saying it in a slightly blunt way. Right.
And to that end, he said the Sony first party games could suffer if they were to go day and date with their releases on subscription services. He said that it would break their virtuous cycle of whatever the hell that means.
Virtuous cycle.
Yeah. I mean, I get that, but also it's like, you don't have to do one or the other. There are multiple pathways forward.
Mm-hmm. All right. I mean, I think basically they're not going to do it because they don't think they have to.
Right. Then there was those other rumors, and the other rumors were one of them was definitely a mistake. It was like maybe a PSVR 2 event was going to happen, and that was just a comedy of errors that caused some people to think that might happen. But also they just showed the PSVR 2 at GDC, so I get why people thought something was going to happen there. Probably not going to happen quite soon, but who knows? It basically that was just like a mistake. The other thing was there's a rumor of PlayStation making a big acquisition. And here we are on April Fool's Day, talking about this thing that no one can really pin down for sure. If you go to Twitter, if you ask Twitter, it sounds like everyone thinks it's going to be Konami. If you ask me, I haven't heard Konami, but who knows? But I've also heard some pretty big companies. And then also, it's also very hard to track this stuff down because the people who really know tend to keep it close because they're afraid of insider trading stuff. So, so really, I don't know. Like, what does this do for you?
I'm afraid of saying, because you told me who you heard, and I don't want to give that away because I'd have thoughts if it was that. Some very just personal and about making me look good. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm skeptical anyways. It doesn't matter. Like I could just tell you guys who we think it is, but I don't want to be. And you guys understand. I know that you would be reasonable about it, but it'll get out of control. Everyone's gonna freak out, and everyone's gonna say, "Well, Jeff Grubb." Even if I say Jeff Grubb said that this is gonna happen, and then they're gonna be mean to Jeff. So, but it doesn't matter because it's not worth getting excited about because we don't know. It's not something that's been really pinned down, that's been confirmed. And as a lot of people have pointed out, these acquisitions usually happen out of nowhere. They do not get leaked. They're almost too big for that. So it's not something, to get upset about or to feel like you're missing out that you don't know, because there's probably nothing there. Maybe. We'll see. It's one that, it wouldn't be it'd be big, maybe not the most shocking thing in the world.
Yep. All right, let's see. The PlayStation is also at the same time laying off dozens of employees in its sales and marketing team as part of a global transformation effort. This is also just feels like they're shifting their priorities, trying to figure out what their marketing is going to look like going forward. That makes some sense, but the shame has to come with layoffs. But also, this is a time where people working in that business could probably find another job pretty quickly because, again, talent is very in demand. Okay, so Breath of the Wild 2 got delayed. We talked about this on Nintendogs. Any new thoughts, Mike? Have you changed your mind about whether or not this means we're going to get a new Switch or something?
No, I don't think we're getting a Switch. I know, like, you got talked into, well, maybe the new Mario games coming out this year during Grubb Snacks. I don't think that's happening.
Right.
I think they're already pretty set for the rest of the year with Pokemon, with Xenoblade and Bayonetta, and probably some other like smaller things that we don't know about. Like maybe Fire Emblem is also coming. That's pretty RPG heavy. I don't know if Fire Emblem really is this year. Maybe a remake. But yeah, I think people are like reading into things too much with the whole, well, now the Switch is coming next year. Like there must be some other big game coming this fall. They're already kind of set for this fall.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you're right, Xeno but I still think there's probably a couple more things that will get announced at E3. Probably, yeah, Zelda, maybe Metroid Prime 1.
Yeah, like this. Yeah, exactly. Those things, and they can have a release date for Advance Wars closer to the holidays too.
Right. New NES and Super Nintendo games got added to Switch Online, including Earthworm Jim 2, which is not good.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. Earthworm Jim 2 first. Also, I can't remember. Aren't those games better on Genesis? I thought those games were better.
I think
on Genesis.
So. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. That team definitely had the talent when it was working on the Genesis in terms of visuals, absolutely. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
Right. Just like I remember the most upsetting thing about Earthworm Jim 2 was actually I played this game on a Saturn because our Sega CD, one of those, maybe even Saturn, because I'm really cool. But Earthworm Jim's idle animation was him jogging in place, and it kind of gave me anxiety. Like he could never rest. He can't just chill out. Earthworm Jim 2 had a lot of gimmick levels. Like there were very few levels that were actually just like platformers. There's like a level where you're a naked mole rat and stuff like that. It was
right.
It was
yeah, that game's like almost all gimmick levels. Yeah. Dig Dug 2 was another one of the games, and then what was the third one? I can't remember here. It's Mappy Land. Mappy Land.
It's funny is that I actually owned both Dig Dug 2 and Mappy Land on the NES and liked them for what they were. I I'm weird because I own Dig Dug 2 on NES, so I had no idea that Dig Dug 1 wasn't like that for a long time.
Oh, really?
So I'm
Okay.
probably one of the few people who associate Dig Dug with that top-down island-based Dig Dug
Weird.
2 gameplay. Yeah, I know.
Well, I like Dig Dug and Dig Dug 2, so this is fine with me. I have no issues with Dig Dug 2. I know some people are like, that's not the real Dig Dug.
Dig Dug 2 is fun.
Which is, it's a weird thing in like 2022 to be like the Dig Dug truther or whatever. But hey, whatever. I get it. Double 11, I guess it's the team that worked on Rust, is teaming up with Bethesda to bring more content to Fallout 76, or this is a team that has worked on Rust or something. Let me double check that. But either way, they're going to bring more content to Fallout 76. To me, this just says, they're going to keep supporting Fallout 76. I kind of thought that game was maybe at a situation where they would let it slowly fade away. It doesn't seem like they're going to do that.
No, it's picked up some support. I even have like I was joking how I don't know people who play Grand Theft Auto 5. I know multiple people who actually play Fallout 76, which is weird. So I think it's got at least enough people to warrant support still, right? I mean, look, like Lord of the Rings Online, Star Trek Online still gets support, right? So
Good point.
Fallout 76 is probably doing fine, at least in terms of justifying its life.
And Double 11 published Rust on Xbox and PlayStation 4, so that's right. So they're going to be bringing some of their like work for hire studio work to come help with this game. Game Pass is expanding to new countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. This is coming like right as like we did find out that PS Now is going to be the way that they are going to continue doing PlayStation 3 games for PlayStation Plus. And that is not available in many countries, including like Australia and Poland and major like markets, relative to what they could be. And it's like, okay, so Game Pass is already expanding into markets way beyond those. But Sony also said they plan to expand the availability of PS Now. They just haven't got around to it, and they didn't really say like where to. So we're kind of just waiting for Sony to like make a move with that stuff. But yeah, good to see Game Pass continuing to move, and that just makes sense. Microsoft is a cloud company. Of course, they're going to have the capacity to do this. Speaking of Xbox, they teamed up with Timmy Studios to release a mobile adaptation of Age of Empires in China, and the game is doing very well, apparently. It debuted at number 1, and it's already a top 10 grossing game. A lot of this came from Zhuge, who was keeping an eye on this. What do you feel about a mobile adaptation of Age of Empires, Mike?
That makes sense. I wonder if this is going to come to other countries. I mean, that's what I basically assume is that Warcraft mobile game that Activision Blizzard's working on is just like a RTS mobile adaptation of that. It's kind of surprising that's like Warcraft and Age of Empires, like two of the biggest RTS franchises, haven't had mobile versions earlier. Although, like, what's its face did the one from EA, Command and Conquer, and that didn't seem to make much of a splash, huh?
Yes, exactly. But it's okay, yeah, and this might be the right market. But also, they said like it is definitely taking some of the tropes from like mobile real-time strategy games, which is like when you think it's probably like Clash of Clans or whatever those games are.
There probably has been an Age of Empires for mobile before, and I'm just already forgetting about it.
Probably, but he says that Zhuge said this game actually tries to modernize the genre on mobile a little bit and actually bring some more classic Age of Empires gameplay to make it feel like a real sort of real-time strategy game, which is actually a pretty neat proposition, because I think mobile gaming has got very stale, and so anything that's sort of trying to shake that stuff up is pretty exciting. Let's see where we at. Undead Labs. There was a story out of Kotaku about its toxic workplace under previous leadership that was described as sexist and misogynistic, and that continued after the Microsoft acquisition. And so this is like pointing out, okay, not everything is always rosy at Microsoft, with the number 1 place to work in the world according to some like measures. It's like, but in the last 6 months, this stuff has started to get cleaned up. Sounds to be like the story where, there were issues, but the guy that was in charge, who's gone on to start his own studio, a completely remote studio, I think Jeff Strain, I think it is. Since then, the new leadership has kind of done a lot of work to clean it up and also get the game back on track, which the game itself also sounds like it might be in a little bit of trouble. But that also makes sense because a lot of key senior developers left that studio when Jeff Strain left. I think it's Jeff Strain. Yes, Jeff Strain. That's right. There's a rumor that Xbox is working on a family Game Pass plan. Mike, do you have any interest in that?
Gosh, it depends on how exploitable it is.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's the Nintendo one, right? Nintendo Switch Online
Right.
Game Pass family plan is pretty exploitable. If you get all 8 and you get everybody to contribute, it's super cheap even compared to a thing that is already pretty inexpensive. So I agree. Like if this is like a good way to save quite a bit of money, I might go for it as well. I like Game Pass Ultimate, but it is kind of expensive. $15 a month is kind of expensive for something that I don't use every day because I get a lot of free games. So that's just my own personal situation. Yes, me and Mike are going to be a family. Everybody's what I'm trying to say. That's right.
Yes, with Christian apparently.
Yes.
we're gonna become Argentinian.
Yeah, all right.
Finally.
Yes, dual
I
citizenship.
get mistaken for Argentinian all the time.
I could pull off Argentinian. I bet I could.
You could maybe pull
I could
off
probably let
Argentinian.
people believe that. All right. Everybody's golf servers are shutting down in September. So more like nobody's golf. Am I right?
Wow, Jeff, you're a funny guy.
Thank you, Mike. That's kind of the only reason I wanted to include this year. I've never played Everybody's Golf, but I know it's got a lot of fans.
Yeah, is it kind of a spiritual successor to Hot Shots, right? Similar to that?
I think it's that
Maybe not
studio.
spiritual.
Yeah, I think it's that studio. So yeah. That Activision deal is going forward so far, but the investors need to vote on it on April 28th. In the meantime, senators in the U.S. and the United States, including Senator Warren, Senator Booker, are asking for increased scrutiny of the deal, specifically as it relates to the way people are treated at the company and Bobby Kodak's payment plan as he exits the company. And they want him to be held responsible instead of getting a big payout. Now, it's hard to tell, like, if this stuff were to happen, would it cause the deal to fall apart? And right now, it's just the Senate asking for more oversight, and we're not exactly sure what that's going to mean for. I believe it's the FTC who I think is looking over this, not the Justice Department. So we'll see. But so far, right now, it's just a request that more attention be paid to the deal.
Oh, look at this. Somebody in chat just said Rivals of Aether 2 was announced, and it's not an April Fool's joke. It's real. That's cool. Jeff, this is like one of the first indie Smash Brothers
Right,
clones.
I remember that. Yeah, I've never played it.
Ori was put into the first one. I don't know if that's going to be in the second one anymore. Well, maybe. Maybe not. But yeah, that's exciting though. That's cool. Thank you for letting me know about that, chat. Specifically, who?
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I can't remember. Yeah, trying to. Oh, yes, Don Otaku.
Don
Thank you,
Otaku.
Don.
Yeah. Yes, and Everybody's Golf is just a direct translation of Mina no Golf, which is the Japanese name. Okay. Numbers. Dead by Daylight now has 50 million players. Mike, have you ever played Dead by Daylight?
No, it sounds scary.
Yeah, it's I get scary, but I think it also the picture to be kind of like comedic and silly. But
yeah, I probably wouldn't actually like. I'm sure I would enjoy it, but like there's such a barrier of starting a new game, right?
Yes.
And for me, the fact that it's based on all these horror tropes and franchises that do nothing for me, it is a reason. But I'm sure, like maybe next Halloween we can like do a game night or something, and I'll try it out. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and they're making that Ghostbusters one that is like basically the same concept, and I'm like, oh, I could do that. That sounds like a lot, like because I'm interested.
That's
in
the
Ghostbusters.
Friday the 13th people.
Yeah, but it's all isn't it all the same idea where it's like
same idea, but not same studio. Yes,
not
but
same
yeah,
studio,
I'm
right.
interested in Ghostbusters,
Right.
Because that's Friday 13th. Then they did a Predator game that
Yes,
I guess
Ilphonic.
came out.
That's Ilphonic, yes.
Yeah.
I mean like the they as, but I mean like the royal they.
Yeah, sure. The, asymmetric multiplayer game,
Yes.
like Evolve, which you thought was going to be the biggest deal ever when it had that great showing at E3.
Yep. Very sure. Yeah, and it's like okay, they just kind of barely missed exactly what they needed, and it was like actually scale it down a little bit, and I think more people would be into it. And turns out, yeah. Dead Cells has also sold 8 million copies, which is very good, but not quite that Luigi's Mansion threshold. So
Not quite,
keep
right?
at it,
Yeah,
Dead
too
Cells.
bad.
Yeah. Although it does. This is interesting because it's like it shows the gap like of what an indie game could do. This game's 8 million copies. Shovel Knight Dig, or is it? Yeah, no, Shovel Knight Pocket, whatever it is.
Pocket Dungeon
is only at 30,000 copies sold, and it's like that is just rough stuff.
That one had some issues with marketing and timing and
Exactly.
a bunch of confusion. Obviously, with
Yes.
Shovel Knight Dig, like you have, I think maybe there's a little bit of some learning for Yacht Club with that one.
I agree. Let's see here. Axie Infinity, which is the like the marquee game for the NFT game future. It's like this game's already making $1 billion. People are making money playing this game, even though they're not really anymore. Someone hacked the game and stole $622 million in Ethereum from the economy.
It's on the blockchain. It's perfect and safe. I thought that's the whole point.
You know, the security that they're talking about is just like, we could secure that transactions are real, and then any other security, it just doesn't even really exist, because it's very easy to like put your to inject code into another person's wallet, and they almost can't even stop it. Like, it just shows up in their wallet if you have their wallet code, which is a public thing, because that's how you like pay people. So like the code just shows up there. If you open it, press the button, code can run and just like send all your shit to someone else. Apparently someone did this on a massive scale. That's more than $500 million. That is insane. How does this shit survive a headline like that? I just don't get it. Nothing like this has ever happened with regular microtransactions. $500 million. I don't get it.
At this point, the crypto bros are they are like in a us versus them mentality, where crypto succeeding is somehow like tied to their identity.
Oh yes,
so it doesn't matter how bad of a deal it actually is for them, or how much it hurts them, or how much it doesn't make sense. Now it's just like a mission from God for some reason.
Mike, now some bad news. I know this is going to break your heart, especially after he came on stage and announced the game at the Game Awards. Fast and Furious Crossroads is getting pulled from sale in April. How are you going to survive?
Man, that is so weird. That is so weird that happened. I wonder how much they had to pay Jeff Keighley to be like, we don't just want to be in your show. We're going last.
And I don't think they paid. I think Jeff Keighley loved having a Hollywood star come on last. You think
Jeff Keighley just thought, like, this is an appropriate thing to close with? That was his learning moment?
Yeah, I don't know if he learned. He loves celebrities, Mike. I think
he does.
That is like his Achilles heel. Is like, he's just, any celebrity you can get on stage, he'll take it. That's I always thought that was like a Spike thing. I think it's just a Jeff Keighley thing. I mean, he's an LA bro. That's his thing.
Sure. Well, I'm not too worried about this one going away, Jeff.
Yeah, but it's like 2 years. That's real fast.
Right. It's not like a live service game, right? Like, why not just keep it on sale? Or is it a live service game? I guess I don't even know what the hell the game is, to be honest.
It's just like a burnout game that's slow and bad.
Cool. With bad CG models of Fast and Furious characters in it, talking about family. Salute mi familia!
Diablo 4 got a quarterly update. That's all I wrote here, because that's all that Knuble gave me, and I figured you would know something about this.
Yeah, they just talked about some of the environments, a couple of the open world zones. You know, they look pretty Diablo-y. But they do look nice. Yeah, they do these quarterly updates. They often aren't anything crazy. Like, they aren't announcing any of the new classes or anything like that. But I think it does alleviate some of the, like, we haven't heard anything about the game. Well, now we've heard something, and we know exactly when we will hear something again in a quarter of a year.
Phenomena, developers of Watum, basically from the guy that previously made what was it, Katamari Damacy. It's that studio is shutting down, and that's just 2 weeks after a video surfaced from the YouTube channel People Make Games about the toxic work culture, specifically under Robin Huneke, who is the founder of Phenomena. Basically, the allegations were that she would use people's like personal information against them in public meetings. She'd be like, "Oh, that person is struggling with their sexual identity, so that's probably why they're struggling with their work right now." And she would say this to everyone else at work, in front of people who did not know this stuff was happening with this person. And it felt very well. I mean, that sounds terrible, right? Would you just say that no one would like that? And this is doubly bad because she has positioned herself as like a champion of fairness and equality in the workplace, especially in gaming. But that studio, did not look very good, especially based on that on Robin. And now it's shutting down, and it sounds like this was like her decision to just pull the plug because she didn't want to deal with this anymore. People working at the studio were surprised to hear about it. Their last paycheck is coming, I think, today, and now that's it. They got to go find a new job. It's pretty rough stuff.
Yeah, it sucks, and it's definitely, it's not cool. I guess the one bright side here is, those jobs are in demand right now, so hopefully everybody's going to land on their feet just fine. But it is,
exactly,
it's definitely stressful.
They shipped a game, and it's a game that Watum is actually very cool. So I'm sure you're right that they'll be able to find work. But yeah, just kind of a shitty thing to do. Russian devs Four Quarters, who created the game Loop Hero, they want you to pirate their game because they understand that they can't, like, they're not going to be able to take money right now because they are in Russia and they're being sanctioned. But they want people to keep playing Loop Hero, so they want you to pirate their game. There's a lot of people like making these sort of gestures. A lot of people who are showing up in places in like Ukrainian colors and stuff like that, trying to like be quiet about their support for Ukraine and quiet about how they're supportive of the sanctions and things like that. Like, did you see the Russian astronauts are like showing up on the International Space Station? They're like, the only colors we had were yellow and blue, so that's what we wore. And it's like, okay, clearly they're just like, oh, we're being cool about this. And this is a similar situation.
It's funny how it seems like all the Russian civilians whose jobs like introduced them much more to the global society seem to not think the war is very good, huh?
Radu Pericoltganis corrects me. They want Russian people to pirate it, not everyone. So if you could pay for it, do it. Definitely do that. Yes, don't pirate if you're just like, some...
right,
if you're in a place where you could buy it. That makes sense. Okay. Activision Beanox is opening up a new studio in Montreal. Beanox is one of those mini studios that have like worked on those remakes of 3D games, or like old 3D games, and they've been working on Call of Duty, I think, recently. Open a new studio in Montreal where there's a ton of talent. So I feel like the last 3 major studio announcements have all been, people opening studios in Montreal. So eventually that stuff's got to reach saturation, but also not too surprised to hear studios like, okay, we got to keep going there because that's where the talent is. Also, it's very cheap to pay for someone in Montreal as opposed to like San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do hope that this is a studio that's going to maybe work on some more interesting things than just being a Call of Duty support studio, which
Absolutely.
You kind of would hope so.
Yes,
but
if you're opening a new studio and you're bringing in talented people, like either this could be the studio that helps with Call of Duty, and then the other studio, the core one, can go back and work on other stuff like that. Go make a Banjo-Kazooie remake trilogy or something like that.
I mean, they've helped on, I think, like some of these other remakes, like the Tony Hawk one, so maybe they can do the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3
that's right.
remake.
Yeah, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, exactly.
Please.
There is a State of Unreal event coming on April 5th, and a MetaQuest gaming showcase coming April 20th. I'll get those added to the Game Mess calendar, so we'll try to keep up with that stuff. But this is the kind of thing, a lot of events, smaller events are going to still be happening. Because E3 is officially canceled, Mike. There will not be an E3 of any kind in 2022, except for maybe in spirit, because Summer Game Fest is returning in June, run by Jeff Keighley. What is your take on all this?
First, as usual, whenever E3 dies, I'm always skeptical that it is truly dead right. And again, like as soon as it was just, E3 was canceled this year, everybody was immediately like, well, E3 is gone forever. That was the immediate assumption. So much of the ESA kind of came out and said, no, we'll be back next year. Now, I am also skeptical of that because they are losing so much ground to Jeff Keighley's thing. And really the only thing that they can have over that is that they can buy convention space and host booths. So we'll have to see if people are still interested in doing that whole shindig next year. But maybe they are going to lose out on all of the press conference and stuff that, most people actually care about with E3. Maybe E3 itself is going to be super industry trade show again going forward. For this year, for most people, especially in terms of being digital, I imagine the experience isn't going to be too different. You're just going to get a lot of that stuff in either the Game Fest or people doing their own things, like Nintendo's just going to have their own direct during that time frame, stuff like that. I don't know. This stuff's always been weird to me, Jeff. There's so many people who seem to like to dance on the grave of E3. I think me and you are a bit more generous to E3 than some of our peers. I enjoy it. I always thought it was fun. Now, granted, I'm like the guy who likes Disney World, so I like cheap spectacle. Right? So maybe that's my issue. Maybe I like all that tacky stuff. Like I'm the person who's like, "Well, there's a statue of Luigi. Can you believe that shit? I'm gonna take my picture with it. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'm like, I love that stuff. So maybe it's a me problem.
I'll say that. I'll miss it. I think Summer Game Fest is exciting that someone is figuring out something immediately that we're going to get that will be probably a pretty decent replacement. And a lot of other companies are going to do their stuff and probably just call it part of Summer Game Fest, and that'll be great. But I want someone to do a physical show, and I want to go to a place that there's meetings can happen and chance meetings can happen, and running into people and be like, oh yeah, we should do a thing, and getting to know PR people who you've only ever talked to on email is like very important. So I want that stuff to keep happening, and I don't know if Summer Game Fest is ever going to turn into that. I don't know if Jeff Keighley has any interest in running an actual show. He might do a Judges Week, which, you know, that's cool too, but I don't know if he's going to end up doing like a full show. So there might be a place for E3 in the future. The E3 brand is very powerful and like valuable, but if Summer Game Fest just kind of replaces all of those functions for most people, E3 could also get forgotten about pretty quickly if everyone's just like, well, that's Summer Game Fest now. So yeah, I don't know. I think that they could try to bring it back next year, but it might be too late. We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, it's probably going to be a mess this year. I think most companies probably will try to get somewhere close to June, Summer Game Fest, but a lot of them will continue to be like, hey, we're either not going to do a thing or we'll do it on our own time. Because we don't need Jeff Keighley, and we didn't need the ESA. We definitely don't need Jeff Keighley to do this. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. But there will be plenty of events, plenty of announcements. We'll keep track of it in the Game Mess calendar. Final two stories here that I added here at the end. Capcom raised the base salaries in Japan of its workers by 30%. I think this speaks to the thing we talk about every week. Talent, hard to come by. If you can spend extra money to keep them around, you should do that, especially if you're having like success as a company. Capcom is very successful right now. And then Hyperlight.
They're doing
okay,
well.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
I understand. Yeah, just parroting you because I have no original thoughts.
Well, then Hyperlight Drifter's getting a sequel, Mike. Hyperlight Breaker. What do you think?
Hyper Light Breaker. I mean, sure, why not? People liked that first one. Let's give it another go.
Yep, I'm excited about this. It'll be very cool. All right, Mike, that does it for the news. Why don't we move on to questions, starting with the super chats from our chat here on YouTube.
Yes. First off, we have Radu Paragold Tagana says, the only April Fool that got me today was the Metacritic posting about Cuphead. Any good gaming April Fool stories? GameSpot used to do cool shit. I haven't seen that Metacritic one. No, I mean, there's some pinball company who posted a fake Fraser pinball machine, and that just kind of made me mad because I would actually like that. So I haven't seen anything super interesting. How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, no, I've actually been purposely tuning out because I was like, I'm gonna keep myself busy with other stuff. Because I'm gonna feel good, but maybe I'll get tricked. I don't want to get tricked again.
Yeah, you don't want to get tricked, Jeff. You already look stupid enough.
Exactly. I can't handle looking any stupider. Look at me, Jesus. Real quick, Tom is in the chat. Tom Henderson in the chat saying if I heard anything about the Quantic Dream NetEase thing. Someone mentioned it to me in a DM before this story, and I was not able to confirm it myself. And when I asked around about it, I was like told to like hit the brakes, but who knows? I have no idea. If you were able to confirm it, I mean, it makes sense. NetEase was already an investor in Quantic Dreams. Quantic Dreams definitely needs help, so it makes sense to me just on that level. And Tom's sources are good, so yeah, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. All right,
super chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's from Paul Heyman, who's going to be having a busy weekend at WrestleMania, I'm sure. Asking, when will we hear more about the Sony acquisition? I mean, probably not until it happens, if it happens, right?
Sorry, I muted myself. Yes, we probably won't hear about it unless it goes through. And if it goes through, they'll give us the details. But until then, these are mostly publicly traded companies that we're talking about as possible targets. And if that's the case, everyone involved needs to just kind of I mean, if it's not the case, it's actually even more difficult because then you have to have like long due diligence periods where these companies, they don't have to report all their specific details. So you have to send someone in to actually look at all their details, and that makes it even more complicated. So in any of these instances, the people who know are going to keep pretty quiet. And if we're able to confirm, that's a very unlikely situation. We're going to be able to confirm it happened before it happens. Like even with Bethesda, I got wind of that, but it was like even the people involved didn't want to tell me directly there was Bethesda, and I knew there was an acquisition coming, and they knew, but they didn't tell me the name Bethesda. And that was the one time I was ever able to even get that close to something that actually ended up happening with an acquisition. So I would say for the most part, if you see something trending on Twitter with acquisition talk, we like for the most part try to keep that in mind, that it's very difficult to track these things down.
The Uncharted Wolf says, with a lot of Square Enix Western failures, do you see them selling off any of their Western studios besides the obvious Crystal Dynamics to Xbox? Jeff, I still feel like it would be an all or nothing thing with Square Enix, ultimately. How about you?
Yeah, I think so too. I like, I think that would probably be their first, because I mean, Strangers of Paradise isn't doing very good either, and at a certain point, the people involved at Square Enix are gonna have to like look around and be like, do we need to completely rethink how we do everything? Do we need to like, yeah, we have Final Fantasy 14, and that makes us very valuable, but are we gonna have to rework our entire way of making games? And if we do we have like what it takes to figure that out, or should we just cash out and find someone to come in here and take over everything? Now, if that stuff either starts to sort itself out, or there isn't a taker to buy them as one whole thing, maybe they look around and they're like, okay, let's actually just at least get rid of these Western studios. That's possible. But for the most part, I think they would probably be a publisher that gets bought as a publisher.
Yeah, I think that's right. Donnie Reese says, with no E3, does Nintendo stick with the traditional June Direct or do their own thing some other time? Will they partner with Keighley? I feel like they're probably going to do their own thing, but it's probably still going to be in the June timeframe, right?
I think so. I mean, they don't have to stick to anything, but I think they'll probably stick to the June timeframe. Gene says that nobody read his Stranger of Paradise article. It seems like it really is just snakes on a plane. We thought everybody would care. There's all these jokes, and no one actually cares now that it's here. It's so weird. I don't get it.
It seems like a cruel thing to say because like a game swapping, but I feel slightly vindicated, which is weird because I then played the game and liked it a lot. But me, I felt like I was a crazy person when they were releasing these trailers. And I was like, this game looks bad. Everyone's like, no, we love it. We're not going to buy it, it turns out. But we think this is great. Like, okay.
Yeah. Super Nintendo says it wasn't all or nothing with IO Interactive, which I think is a fair point. But also they were just kind of like, get out of here. They just kind of kicked them out.
That was also kind of before the acquisition train that we're on now. That was a different time already, even though it doesn't feel like that long ago in video game terms. That was a while ago.
Yeah. Yes. And then they made like weird, like, right. Cause like they never would have made a deal now that looked like what they did with IO, where it's like they bought themselves and they kind of just like gave them the Hitman IP back. As part of that small payment or whatever they ended up paying to get to free themselves. So these days, even a studio like IO Interactive would sell for way more, and you would sell them. Like you would just get that money. But these days, I think you would probably just sell everything as one big go and get a massive payment.
By the way, that Aladdin Genesis poll did add some time ago. I think it was 55% said that Aladdin Genesis.
Oh, did it? I felt weird. Okay.
So I won, but that's also still ridiculous that one of the most liked best-selling games in the Genesis, only a slightly more than half you think it's even good.
I just think that people's tastes have matured over time, and I think if we were to ask this poll again in 10 years, I think that would favor me.
Well, yes, there'll be more children.
I have the children of the future, Mike. That's what I always say.
The children of the future. All right, D. Jones says, do you think Sony will have the same hurdles that Xbox faced when trying to bring back their retro/classic catalog games with licenses and what not? I mean, yeah, if there's ones with licenses involved, it'll be an issue. With Sony, there aren't as many of those. Like some of the biggest issues are racing games with licensed music, right? And I'm not sure how many of those that are like big Sony things exist, so that'll be an issue. But otherwise, I'm trying to think of what would be a big problem for them in terms of licensing and whatnot.
In terms of like bringing back old games,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's all the stuff that we already know. So the stuff you just talked about. Like, I mean, there's gonna be there were like a lot of licensed games, especially on the PS2, right? I mean, and anytime.
Yeah. There were a lot of licensed games, but like how many? Like Spider-Man 2 is good, and I'm sure there's some other things, but ultimately it's not the stuff that people necessarily
right.
Like someone said Crash and Spyro. Well, that's stuff that they could probably relatively work out.
Right.
Easily.
Anything that's like in the video game world, they could probably make those deals. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Afro Ahmed says, "Is Sony really going to let Bloodborne die at 30 FPS? At some point, somebody is going to have to either make like a PlayStation 5 version or release a patch. It's going to happen at some point here. They're still clearly working. From Software still doing a lot of work with Elden Ring right now. With even patch support because the game's been so popular. It might be something they're already working on now. Maybe we'll hear about it at E3, Jeff.
Yeah, maybe.
E3. Summer Game Fest.
I'm still going to call it E3.
I know, right? Kachow21 asks, is Sony primed to buy Deviation and Firewalk?
If they have to, they will. These are studios that if they prove themselves, Sony will do it. If they're like just kicking ass with meeting their milestones, Sony might pull the trigger. If these studios make it clear, like, hey, when we're done with this contract with you, we have some suitors and we are going to listen to their deals and let there be a bidding war, and we're going to go to the highest bidder. If that happens, Sony will be like, okay, what if we just pay you this much now, and this much being a very good sum? They'll do it if they have to. This has happened with Nintendo. Sony's clearly making these moves as well. We'll see. We'll see if Deviation Firewalk can sort of can finagle themselves into that sort of position where they clearly Sony's like, well, we don't want to go without you. So yes.
Dylan Dodds asks, what do you guys think of Conquer? Should Xbox bring it back? Have a great day. Jeff, I was never much of a fan of Conquer. Even though I was supposedly the perfect age for it. I was 13 or something when Conquer's Bad Fur Day came out for Nintendo 64. Even then, I thought this game is pretty immature.
I think it's very similar to Aladdin for the Genesis, where I tried to convince myself that I was enjoying myself. It's I don't know. If they were to bring back Conquer today,
what would it even be?
They could probably make it work, though. I bet there's probably a way to do it. You maybe have not a singing piece of shit, but there's probably fun things they could still do and make it ultra violence or something. But ultra violent. But I don't know. It also is not. The world is not clamoring for a return to Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah, I think that one may be a little stuck in the past. I don't know they kind of brought it back for what was their game that was like Dreams before Dreams. They had the Conquer
Project Diddly Squat. Project Diddly Squat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something they had Conquer stuff for that. Space Dovakin asks, what do you guys think might be the price range, and talk about the family plan for Game Pass? That up to 5 members language worries me a bit. In my home, we only have 2 gamers. Well, in that, if you only have 2 gamers, you probably might be better off just getting individual Game Passes.
I mean,
right?
or just get one Game Pass, right? And can you have it if you're sharing a system?
Yeah, how does it even? I don't even know.
I can't remember how it works exactly. So I guess you would still maybe need gold for that other person, and maybe that's the problem.
Do you have a Project Spark was the name of that thing?
Spark.
Thank you. Do you have a guess on what the price range is going to be for this family plan?
No, it's tough to say, right? Is it going to be would they do it monthly? Because if they do it monthly, it's going to be really weirdly expensive. Maybe $30 a month or something like that. And you get that's because that doesn't make sense for 5 people. That's way too good of a deal. So, if it's Game Pass Ultimate, I have no guess. That's a tough one.
Different Jeff asks, Sony buying Kojima Productions would be big xCloud deal ? I don't think it's Kojima Productions.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if Sony was going to buy Kojima Productions, they would have done it already.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I was like, what are you buying there? Company. It's just one smaller studio that's going to release one game.
They're growing.
Every 3 or 4 years. They're growing. Yeah. How big a hit was Death Stranding, I guess?
It was pretty good once it got to PC. I think they got to 5 million copies sold or something like that. So.
RDX Son of a Fett says, especially when Call of Duty starts hitting, does Game Pass make Spartacus a joke? Also, why is Halo on Paramount, but Paramount isn't on Xbox? Is that true? Is Paramount Plus not on Xbox?
I mean, if you can get Prime Video is on Xbox, right? And you can get Paramount through Prime Video, and it's a pretty good deal. I would just do that. But whatever. I don't care about the Halo show either, so whatever. I don't know. Spartacus is going to be a deal for people who have PlayStation, and it's probably going to continue to look at pretty grim compared to Game Pass, but most people on the PlayStation won't care. They'll be like, oh, this is good for me.
People in chat are saying Paramount Plus is on Xbox. Now, granted, RDX might be in a country or something where it's
right,
not.
Maybe, yeah.
Anywho, Space Dovakin says Jeff's show is so not E3. I mean, it's E3 adjacent at least.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of takes
E3.
on like,
yeah,
I've seen a lot of takes about like, well, this is worse, this is better. I think it's going to be pretty similar.
Yeah,
at least for the at-home experience, right? Clear, like obviously it's way different than back when you were going to E3 and going to booths and you were a businessman and you're figuring out how many copies of Aladdin for Genesis you needed to order for your store. But
right, and
for people,
and we're not talking about like just like the Summer Game Fest show proper. Like Summer Game Fest is probably going to also do the thing where like, okay, Xbox is doing something and they're going to just call it part of Summer Game Fest, but it's still Xbox's own showcase. So, and that stuff like E3 is not happening anymore for that stuff to happen under an umbrella. If he can get all those things to happen in a 1 to 2 week period, that's a success. That's good. And we should be thankful that Jeff Keighley's trying to make that stuff happen.
RDX Son of a Fett says Microsoft has paid out $2 billion to indies.
Yes.
Well, if that's true, that's good.
Yeah, they reported that around GDC, I think. Yeah.
Nice. Jeff, that is it for Super Chats. For now, if you guys want to send in any more Super Chats, we will read them before the show ends.
All right, we got a lot of questions, so let's get to them. Epic Turbo World. So, Jeff, when you move to Ohio and do live stream / podcast with Mike, how long until you make one too many Kingdom Hearts jokes and Mike slaps you live on the internet for the world to see? Will Jason Schreier and Imran Khan have to write stories about how the GamesBeat community has been torn apart and can only be brought together again by Mike and Jeff hashing out feelings at a neutral gaming location like an Xbox jacuzzi that Jeff built in the basement of his new home? I can think of
Dora's name out of your fucking mouth.
I will. Jeez.
All right.
All right.
I'm sorry we had to do a slap joke.
Yes, it was inevitable. Cran just McBasketball. Hi, Jeff and Mike. Why does Jim Ryan hate me? I just want to play the first 2 Infamous games on a modern console.
Yeah. There's so many PlayStation 3 games that are just stuck there, and this is a problem they should have figured out leading up to the launch of the PlayStation 5, really. So that's why it's frustrating. Because there's all the Ratchet and Clank games. There's, the Resistance games, which I talk shit about, but I'm kind of interested in playing them again because, I don't know. There's some Killzone games on there that people like. Then weird stuff like Metal Gear Solid 4, which is just absolutely stuck on PlayStation 4. Weirder stuff like Ridge Racer 7. So yeah, there's a lot of PlayStation 3 games that need a path out of that system.
Let's see, from Hosp. Hey, yo, with my Steam Deck due in Q3, do I wait to play huge games I've missed, like Cyberpunk and Witcher 3, or play them now with the next-gen updates on Xbox? I mean, if you have... why have you been waiting? If you've been waiting because it's hard to find the time to sit down and play those games, if that's the case, just wait. Play them on Steam Deck. But if you find yourself with time and you're sitting in front of a system looking for something to play, don't hesitate. Play them. Those games are going to be really good with the next-gen updates. They already are in Cyberpunk's case. From Casual, Dear Jeff, Falling Beans Grubb, and Mike Beef Spray Minotti.
Beef Spray?
Why do we call pigs pigs and not hamsters? It's ham stirs. Okay. It seems like a given to me. And before you tell me to quit it with this Seinfeldian type observation, remember that Seinfeld is easily one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. Okay, you know what? Checkmate. You got us. And then he says, hashtag, Mikey's getting upset. So there you go.
I like that. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
on anything.
Fair enough. Hamsters they are from now on. You've convinced us. From Blackheart Vinyl, at the Game Awards, which dev do you most want to see slap another dev? Give me a slapper and a slappee. It has to be people who might actually get invited. So no cheating by picking Jaffe or Cliffy B. Jesus.
Hideo Kojima is going to slap Joseph Ferris when Joseph Ferris makes Jeff Keighley joke that goes too far.
That's right. Honestly, Mike, I'm pretty sure I would have said the same 2 people. I definitely was going to say Joseph Ferris.
Well, who do we associate with the Game Awards?
Yeah.
Maybe trending gamer of the year, Greg Miller. We'll get up there too.
Gonna slap. What's a recent trending gamer? All of them are racist now, so I don't know.
Except for Greg, to be clear.
Yes, except for Greg. Right, yeah.
Of his many faults, which are numerous and egregious.
Right.
Greg Miller is not a racist.
From Beef Hammer, happy Friday, fellow beef boys. With E3 being sacrificed this year, we know most companies are going to move their shows to Summer Game Fest, or they will go it alone. But what about the most important part of last year's E3? Where is the GamesBeat session moving? Will you boys be trying to join the Nintendo Direct or Xbox Showcase possibly? I can't think of a single person who would ask us to be part of their show this year, Mike.
I was shocked we were asked last year. I forgot that happened
Me
until
too.
somebody reminded me last week. Like, oh, that's why they canceled E3 because you two were at this. Like, oh yeah. That whole thing was fun. It went exactly how I thought. Whereas like chat is going to be very mean to us because we are not announcing video games, and they were. But it was. Yeah, I was glad that I got to be a part of E3.
Me too.
I'll only do something this year if it's with Nintendo and they let me wear like Halloween store like jail clothes the entire time.
I want to be in control of the Mario in real time thing, the MERT technology, where like Charles Martinet would get behind a microphone and have a Mario talk to people in the audience. I want to do that. I wouldn't make Mario yell awful things at people. The real reason E3 is canceled, obviously, Mike, is that the Intellivision Amico is not there to pay like $100,000 to do a session like they did last year. That's got to be it, right?
Oh my god!
That's why they waited till now to cancel.
That'd be a good use of money.
Yep. Bench JC. Hello, gentlemen. I think this needs to be brought up in the conversation. Soon, Jeff and Mike will probably be living near each other, and with that, it possibly means Mike will get to meet Jeff's kids. What will make Mike's status be? What will Mike's status be? Because we can't have the kids just call him Mike or Mr. Minotti. That would be fucking weird. I would hate that actually.
Mr. Minotti. Oh my god.
There has to be some unique name that they give Mike and call him for the rest of time until whenever they see each other. So, what are my kids gonna call Mike Minotti? Everybody. I'll add this to the Spotify as well. That'll be a question.
What are they gonna call me?
Yes.
Oh no. I'm afraid.
From Turbo Sean, happy Friday,
Just
Jeff.
gonna call me Mikey. Let's be clear. That's what's gonna happen.
Let me see if I have this. Okay, all right, here we go. Happy Friday, Jeff.
Oh my god, your porn stash.
Grubb and Mike
Beef
Minotti. As you may have heard, Batman recently went to FaZe Clan looking for help taking down a villain.
How do we not talk about this?
I don't know.
Jeff, this is the greatest thing that has happened this year. This I need to actually go to a comic book store and find this
you're right.
comic. Is this a comic they're
too.
selling? Oh my god, just the bits from this are incredible. It's given me so much joy. Continue.
Real quick in chat, we got Meep Minotti, Johnny Minotti, Meep Minotti. It's always Uncle. Someone wants to have them call you Creepo.
The Creepo.
Uncle Jims.
I like Johnny Minotti just because that's just not my name. Greg Miller's a funny one.
Hey, kids, meet Greg Miller. Bunkle Beef plus Uncle. Me Naughty. I don't want my kids calling a grown man naughty. Mike Meet Minotti. All right, keep them coming. These are good. Let's see. Turbo Sean says, okay, what superhero would seek the aid of the Beef and Cheddar Boys?
Yeah, who would come looking for our help?
Blank Man.
I saw that Whataburger has its own superhero. Maybe.
Oh, really?
Guy. Yeah. Maybe the Whataburger superhero.
Yeah, Ronald McDonald would need our help.
This is a gamer issue, Ronald McDonald. Ronald McDonald's a dinosaur.
Honestly, I just need that frame, that cell of him saying this is a gamer issue, and I need that blown up and framed on my wall. Actually, that's going to be the first thing I hang up in the new studio. So that's happening. I don't know. I would probably
I'm gonna cry. It's
Aquaman.
So good.
Mickey Mouse is a superhero. In-game Thor would need our help.
Oh, it's Garfield from Pet Force.
Okay, there you go.
Garfield, this is a gamer issue, Garfield. I'm crying.
Turbo Sean says, P.S. Congrats to Benji Bop for winning round 1 of the Game S Mario Party Deathmatch. He'll be joining us as our 4th for the grand finale. So there you go, Mike.
When are we doing that?
I don't know. Let's pick a day. You let me know. We could do it this weekend, maybe.
Maybe if it's Sunday, I could.
Sunday sounds good. Okay. Dr. Turbo Sus. Isn't it incredible that in the age of business innovation, Sony can continue to play it as safe as possible and continuously thrive? What does that say about gamers? For the most part, it says gamers know what they want and they just want the same thing over and over again. So
yeah, I mean, let's not be too hard on Sony here. Like, you know, right. They do some innovations. They do some things. Like their controller was more ambitious than the other ones. You know, their first party games are very ambitious and big. Now, maybe sometimes they're familiar gameplay wise, but still they are ambitious in a lot of ways.
Game Runner, you're going to be yes, thank you, Turbo Sean. But I've said before, it's in June. I've already answered this. Don't freak out in chat asking the same thing over and over again. You're just going to get banned, and I was going to answer you, but you just kept asking. So we're doing other things. Just be a smart person in chat for once.
That's right, just a child. They don't know how. They don't know how to express themselves. Their frontal lobe's not developed yet.
Mine's neither, and I don't use that as an excuse. Newfie Legit. Happy Friday, Jeff, Mike, and all the Beef and Cheddar community. Let's see. With the official announcement of the new PlayStation Plus tiers, how long after a new first-party title releases before we see it go to the service, do you think? I mean,
like 2 years.
I was gonna say at the fastest 1 year, but I mean, like, what they're probably gonna do is a director's cut at a year. Like we just saw, like Returnal get a major patch, right? A major free patch.
Yeah.
They're probably going to use that as like a way to boost that game. And then a year from now, Returnal will be on the service. So 2 years is probably right. Let's see. We got one here from Jump Matt who says a couple of Elden Ring questions. Why are the loading times so long compared to the other Series X/PS5 games? Is it just not that well optimized for next gen? The answer to that one is yes. I think you are. They did do an optimized version for the new systems, but they didn't do much. They didn't spend much time on that version. This is mostly a last gen game. But I'll say it, like playing it off an SD card on Steam Deck, it was loading for me at like the most. It would take 10 seconds at most. Most of the time, it was like 5 seconds off an SD card.
It's not like it's not Spider-Man loading times. It's not super egregious to me, at least, on Xbox Series X. It could be better, sure, if it was like a game that was made for the next gen from the beginning, and also, From Software clearly is not maybe the best at the technical aspects. They're good enough, but it's not their strong suit.
And then Jumpman asks, how long do you think G.R.R. Martin actually was spent working on Elden Ring? Was it more or less than one standard workday? Mike, do you believe that George R.R. Martin spent more than 8 hours working on Elden Ring?
I'm not sure. It's so hard figuring out what exactly it is that he did. I wonder if he just set up the base lore.
It sounds like he named a lot of the characters. I think to me it seems like he did a lot of the general lore. I don't think he wrote a single item description, but I bet he named the items. I bet there was a lot of meetings.
I don't think he wrote any dialogue or anything.
No.
I think he made a lore Bible is what I think he did.
Yes.
And that would probably, I don't know. It's hard to say how long that takes people because that's vastly different answers for different people. Maybe a weekend. Maybe it's a hot weekend.
Yeah, and probably several meetings as well. Like he probably like at his house, when football wasn't on, he was probably like doing some work. And then he probably just did meetings where he answered questions and probably came up with a lot of stuff on the spot. Which is fine. The game's got pretty cool lore for as much as I was able to glean from it.
Lore is really good. That's one of the first things I did after it was like watching lore videos. And it's fun because it's like most of the stuff I didn't fear, but it's neat kind of getting these deeper dives into it.
Someone chats to see he did the lore for a fantasy world and they made it fucked up. I'll say that his fantasy world's also pretty fucked up. Although you could tell that Miyazaki definitely brought his like, but it could be more fucked up thing to which he always does. Velocity Prime 1, happy Friday to having a beef with each other boys. Nice. Fair enough. I like that. Outside of the Ratchet games and Metal Gear Solid 4, what PS3 games really need to be evac'd from that console onto the new PS Plus service? Not a lot is coming to mind, as most of the big stuff was remade for PS4 or PS5. Also, Grubb's right, SNES Aladdin forever. SNES Aladdin.
That's not even the argument. That's not even what it is about. Nope. Wow. Somebody in chat said 3D Dot Game Heroes.
Oh yes, that's what a lot of people want. Yes.
Yeah, that would be a really good one. I say Ridge Racer 7 just because it's basically a better version of Ridge Racer 6 on the Xbox 360 with better lighting. So I would really like to have that. But I mean that's kind of the big stuff is that and the Sony stuff. Like a lot of PlayStation 3 games are actually just like multi-platform games where the PlayStation 3 version is the worst one. Like, don't get me wrong. So there's not like a zillion things that they need to do, but there are enough that it's going to be a worthy endeavor. The Ratchet & Clank things are actually the biggest one for me, though. Those are the ones I really want to get off of there.
Jedi Moss 4. It seems like almost everyone is looking to have their own subscription plans, and it often feels like companies are transparently nickel and diming us in very precise ways with what content gets delivered to which customers that pay, and the number of subservices being offered is only ballooning each day. Should companies be concerned about subscription fatigue from there being so many plans now being offered? Is there a danger to these companies of people growing resentful of all these tiers that fragment and slice up content in an attempt to charge more? Yeah, they should always be worried about that stuff, but I still don't think the fatigue is as much of a downer as the potential high upside of getting people to subscribe and then forget. Because if they subscribe and forget, that's a lot of money right there. And a lot of people end up doing that. And so the positives continue to outweigh the negatives, and that's why you see so many companies going after this space. Now, they're not all going to succeed, but if they do, that is like a guaranteed, predictable revenue stream for the future, and they could just build it. From Jake Bogdanoff, Jeff, when/how did you introduce the kids to video games? My 2.5-year-old son is really interested in controllers, but not so much in games yet. Feel free to weigh in about the Minotti, the little Minotti's, Mike. Yeah, I don't know, but my kids have been sort of always been looking over my shoulder, and they see me playing games a lot, and they want to do what Daddy does. So I most recently, the best example is Kirby. It's got a 2-player mode. Emmy really wants to play it. That's how we've been playing it, so that's been great. But they like Mario. They also like watching like commentary-less gameplay of colorful games on YouTube. So Chuchul is one that was very popular. They like playing Chuchul as well, which is available on like iPads and stuff, and as well as computer.
iPad gaming is such a big gateway for a lot of it too.
Yes,
because everybody's got an old iPad or phone or something.
Exactly.
To a kid.
Yes, totally. And you get like
very simple games.
Yes, and I just get Google. I have Google Play Pass, which is like $2 a month for me or something like that, because I got like the grandfathered price, and I just get a bunch of kids games and let them play on the tablet, and they're all ad free, and I use an ad free DNS thing, so the ads just cannot pop up on the thing at all. So it's like that's a very good way of letting them experiment with mobile games, which for the most part they're going to kind of go towards the artsy games and creative games, and I love that stuff. But when it comes to the TV, Mario's been very successful. They've had a lot of fun with Mario, and again, they like watching that stuff on YouTube as well. What about the nieces and nephews, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it kind of started with iPads, and then my brothers were playing games, so they always kind of saw it and were always interested. But they just this year, almost all of them got their own Switches, so that they kind of been diving in deeper. My 4-year-old nephew really likes playing Smash Brothers a lot, actually, which is really cute. And then my nieces actually got both of them copies of Minecraft for Switch. So if you ever wonder why Minecraft sells so much, I just bought 2 copies of it, and they both like that a lot. So they also all got into Roblox and everything, like all the stuff that kids like. In fact, I talked about this before, how I think Five Nights at Freddy's is satanic. Like, yeah, AJ was even saying, like, yeah, the kids just love Five Nights at Freddy's. They are obsessed with it. So basically, if there's anything that like is famous for being popular with kids, it'll probably be popular with your kids.
That is very true. Absolutely. All right, Mike. So we've got a whole lore here on GamesBeat Decides of Killer of Xbox, and I think it was George Foreman, who loves Xbox a ton and gives us a hard time whenever we're not.
We won George Foreman over. He's on our side now. He's a
good friend now. And then I think recently, did we have like a Stadia fanboy? Well, guess what? We have a new one, Mike. Ready? Amico is king says,
"Oh no,
I can't believe the slander I hear for the Intellivision Amico on this channel. Where else are you going to play an Evel Knievel game and glorious cornhole? The Amico doesn't have any competition. There's no other console that looks like a foot bath with 2 Zuns attached to it. Who paid you to? Ouya? Gizmondo? I'm sick of this bias in media. Give Amico a chance. Tommy Tellerico owns a Ferrari. No one who owns a Ferrari has ever been wrong about their business ventures."
It's true.
Thank you, Amico's king.
It's actually Game.com was the one who got to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. We've always been Game.com hacks. Absolutely. Oh, man, I love this shit. One Up versus CPU says, is the Fox named Tunic? Have you changed your Fox's colors? Is Tunic a meep? I don't know maybe its name is Tunic. Maybe it's just because he's wearing a Tunic.
I don't know. I'm gonna probably start Tunic today.
Gotta start it. You gotta play it.
I beat Elden Ring last night, so I'm excited. Are things that are hairy ever meeps, Jeff? I thought that it was more of a hard shell. Or
no, because she said like Bidoof was a meep. So there's mammal meeps.
There's mammal meeps.
Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing. I have to admit, it's still confusing to me. I'll ask her. There's definitely been mammals that have not been meeps though as well. So I'll ask her. She might be like, no, that's a fox, like because she knows what a fox is. We'll see. You got to play Tunic though because it's there's like a lot of secrets in it and things that I think would actually be a bummer if they got spoiled. And not in terms of story, but in terms of like discovery. So go in there and also hug the walls. I'll just say hug the walls. Like look for nooks and crannies. It's fun that way.
Is it better than Death's Door?
Yes, I think without a doubt. I think this is like the first time anyone has captured in like the 2D style Zelda so well. Like the music's so great. It does sound like Donkey Kong Country. Like Miles Dompier was saying that, and I'm like, oh yeah, it does kind of have those vibes. It's fucking fantastic. Tunic is so good. From Laushin. Hello, gents. Hope you're doing well. I own a PS5. I was lucky enough to get one at retail at launch, and I would to play it more. I want to play it more. With spending time with my wife and my kids, it shrinks my availability for games. I am able to play a Switch more often since I take it with me around the house. I want to play my PlayStation games, but remote play on my phone doesn't cut it. I hate touch controls on the screen. Any suggestions? I was even looking into a PS Vita for remote play, but apparently it doesn't support PS5. There's a bunch of PSs here, but we'll get to that afterwards. Chad, if you have a good solution here, because I haven't really tried this. I haven't really looked into it.
My solution is to abandon your family. Go live on your own like me.
That's the answer.
Play PlayStation 5 as much as you want.
Yeah, I wonder. I'll have to look into it and see if like remote play has been supported on like one of these handhelds or even like the Steam Deck. But yeah, Racer Kishi, does Racer Kishi work with PS5? Because I'm wondering, like, do they force you to have a DualSense to run that, to do that stuff? I'll see if that's the case. You can get like one of those clip-on things where the thing clips onto your DualSense and then the phone is here, and that could be pretty comfortable. And do it that way. And if I were you, I would like use like a slightly older phone and dedicate it to that, so you're not like wasting your real phone's battery on that stuff. And then we could just keep it charged, ready to go for gaming whenever you want. The app does not care what controller you use. Okay, well there you go. Yeah, get a Racer Kishi or something like that. Or I think if you have an iPhone, people really like the backbone controller. I've had bad luck with my Kishis. 2 of them have broken on me. All right. So Laushin continues. Please, and P.S. Please announce or schedule your supporters Q&A earlier. I would like to catch it live, but it's hard when they are short notice. That's fair. I'm terrible at this, so this is my fault. I will try to. We'll do it Sunday. So Sunday, let's just do it Sunday morning. I'll commit to it Sunday morning for the March Q&A, even though it's April already. I'll be doing it Sunday morning, probably pretty early, so keep an eye out for that. I'll try to pick a time here.
I'll be sleeping.
Mike will be sleeping. But yes, let's just say 9:30 a.m. Jeff time. All right, there we go.
It's mountain time, everybody.
It's mountain time. PPS, thanks for the great content. PPPS, yes, my 1-year-old is having her canine teeth come in. She is not cutting the dogs, but does try to bite my dogs every now and then.
You.
Yep. Oh, very good. Was that a reference to Nintendogs? Is that where we talked about that? I think so.
I think either that or last week, but yes, I remember I was confused because I'm an idiot.
From Lolly Sup, hi Jeff and Mike. The PAX East exhibitors list was just released, and it seems like major publishers, Sony, Nintendo, Square Enix, are sitting this one out. I kind of expected this with COVID still being a major concern, but do you think they will ever return to big in-person events like this? Does the death of E3 further move publishers out of the physical event space? Thanks for all you do. Yeah, they'll come back eventually for the most part, but I don't know if it'll be a regular thing for them. Like Nintendo had like a dedicated team going around the country setting things up and like using like their all their props that they would set up for their next big game. And like they're the group dedicated to that stuff. I bet that group isn't at Nintendo anymore, so it might take some effort to get that stuff spooled back up. And maybe it'll take a long time, and maybe they'll just decide, actually, this isn't for us. We'll do something else instead. So
more importantly, once you're in Ohio, we're gonna have to travel to PAX East together sometime here.
We should, and we'll just take the train. Oh my God, the Amtrak will just be there in Cleveland. Oh my God, that'll be fantastic. Yes, we'll definitely do that because the train to PAX is so good. Yes, we'll do a panel and stuff. Do a panel on the train as well. Turbo Giggy 64. So beefs. both Aladdin games are great, but why is Aladdin for the SNES the best Aladdin game? Probably because it's more concerned with gameplay than the Genesis one. That's probably...
That drives Jeff. What are you talking about? Like somebody else. You guys are acting like the Genesis Aladdin game is some kind of like walking simulator. It's an action platformer that's just nothing but jumping and attacking.
No,
things.
it has those things. They're just not very fun.
Oh my god, you guys are crazy.
Earthworm Jim has a bunch of action. It's not fun.
Earthworm Jim has awful level design. That's the problem with Earthworm Jim.
Way worse than Aladdin. Aladdin is not as bad as Earthworm. It is the best of these, the Genesis one.
Oh my gosh.
I had a similar experience where I thought I would have more fun and was trying to convince myself I was.
Okay.
Delta Prime 84. I decided, God, that April Fool's joke, Mike, was very good. I believed you that you were like, oh, that was just a bit on Twitter. No, it was reversed.
No, I was fair. I'm still mad.
Yeah. Delta Prime 84, I decided to actually play a AAA game this week and got into Elden Ring. After getting up to the Firelands biome, I have one question. Are those humanoid centipede guys I've been killing meeps? I bet they are meeps, but I wonder if she would be scared of them. I don't think she's not scared of like anything really, so I'll ask her.
She's not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
She will be.
Yeah, she eventually
will be.
From Jeff Dugan. What was a first memory you have of playing video games? Go ahead. You go first.
Earliest ones were kind of watching my older brother AJ playing stuff on our NES. We had our NES in the basement, plugged into this. I say an old TV, but by then it was probably new. So I remember watching him playing like Mega Man 2, Mario, Mickey Mouse Capades, and like NES Golf. Those were some of the earliest things. At some point, I would, jump in and play around a bit too. But like, it almost kind of predates my memory. It was just always there for me. Like, I don't have the memory of getting the NES. It was just always there.
Yeah, I have memory of getting the NES for my 5th birthday. I'm trying to remember if anything like clicks from before that. I think this could be my brain just making this stuff up. But Barnstormer for the Atari, I think we had the like Atari attachment for the ColecoVision or Intellivision or something like that, and you would be able to use Atari games on there. I think that's right, and I think we had Barnstormer, and I remember the plane flying over and like shoot stuff. I definitely played Atari games, but my actual first real solid memory is my 5th birthday. My parents and my brother Sean did a over the rainbow scavenger hunt where I had to go through the house finding all these things, and it led me to the bathroom where there was a new NES in there. They set it up that night. I was able to play Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt for a little bit, and then I had to go to bed, and then my brothers stayed up all night playing Mario, and I snuck back out and was able to play with them for a little bit. And then, after that, it was just like kind of from video games from then on. And then really, that's probably one of my earliest memories, period.
My earliest memory is just walking with AJ on some rocks in our front yard and being like, and I don't know why I remember. It's like, do you remember when that thing happened? And he goes, yeah, that was yesterday. And then I go, oh. That is my earliest memory. What the things the brain really holds on to.
My earliest memory might make a little bit more sense. It had to be before I was 5 because I did not know how to swim, and I was sitting on the edge of a pool, and my body just decided you're going to jump in, and we're at a party, and no one else noticed for a long time that I was drowning. And
oh God,
yeah, and eventually my uncle, who was working on his car and not really part of the party, was like, fuck, and like jumped over the fence and had to dive in and got me out. And I remember very vividly.
I can't believe no one noticed.
Yep, yeah. Everyone's like right over here, and no one noticed that I was drowning. Oh man. So you guys almost went without Jeff.
Happy. They're probably like, everyone pretend you don't notice.
No one pays attention to him. Let him. This is how we get rid of him. From Ogto. Hey there. Hope Jeff is feeling better and Mike has recovered from the Aladdin hot takes. He'll never recover.
No, this is gonna scar me forever now. It's not as bad as the Super Metroid hot takes, at least. I guess there's that too. That was the one that took years off my life.
Yes, definitely. Simple question this week. What's going on with Villa Gorilla, the devs of Yoku's Island Express? It's been 4 years since Yoku, a game I loved, and I hope they're working on something. Have you heard anything? Have a great weekend. And P.S. The reason Beef and Cheddar Boys sounds not appealing to a Romanian like myself is because I have no culinary context for it. I just imagine your beef asses smothered in cheddar.
So at Arby's, which you're missing out by the way, one of their famous sandwiches is called the beef and cheddar. It's just a roast beef sandwich with a melted cheese slathered over it. So you're not too far off.
Yeah, basically. It's basically the same thing. I don't know. Well, that's a good question. They're probably just in silent mode until they have a new game to announce. But I don't know.
Probably should be soon.
Yeah,
He's
we'll reach out to him. Yeah, that's I would be. Maybe they announced something we haven't heard about it.
You think it would just be Yoku's Island Express 2?
I kind of hope so. I think that they could take that concept even further.
Maybe if it was just another pinball open world game, but like a different theme, it would be exciting.
Yes,
that's one that, like, by the way, like Nintendo should just be like, here's the Kirby license, make a Kirby game.
Yes,
now.
very good.
Make like the incredible sequel to Kirby's Pinball Land or whatever. That's what I would do.
Yep. Turbo Madden, what is your favorite fake video game or game-related announcement on April Fool's Day? Mine has to be that fake Legend of Zelda movie trailer that IGN posted back in 2008. We got a super chat about this as well from Paul Gale Network. What's your all-time favorite EGM April Fool's joke? So, do we want to cover these real quick? My favorite probably is the James Bond one. All the old James Bond actors in GoldenEye, and you have to do all this crazy shit to unlock it.
It's actually good. That was kind of believable. Like they did the Kingdom Hearts one with like Mario, and like you didn't believe that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But that GoldenEye one was pretty good. I already talked about the World of Warcraft demake for Atari. It was pretty funny. I wouldn't mind playing that one.
Let's see, from Turbobama. Hello, my beautiful beefy boys. I've heard many opinions and arguments about when 3D gaming was perfected and or just understood its controls and perspective. Some people think it was found right off the bat with Mario 64, while others think it wasn't truly found until the PlayStation 4 generation. That's just insane. For you guys, what game did you feel that 3D was? When did you feel that 3D was perfected, basically?
Perfected is maybe loaded, but I mean, I think I felt like 95% of the work was done with Mario 64.
Exactly, yes. They didn't have a second analog, and they didn't quite understand the camera, but they definitely knew the problems, and they had a solution. And the solution, the problem was that they just didn't give people the option to, like, change the inversion of the camera. If they would have done that, most people would be like, this is fine.
I know this is still a hot take, and like chat's already going on about it. I don't think the camera is that bad in Mario 64.
No, it's not bad at all. It's fine.
It's fine. I noticed that like some people act like it's like slaughtered their babies.
Yeah.
Like you can move that camera and you can use it and you can see what you're doing and you can beat the video game.
Knight says Mario 64 controlled terribly. I hope he just means the camera, because I could accept that people like don't like that it's you are controlling Lakitu. Like, that's the whole idea. You are moving Lakitu. You're not, like, telling camera, go right. Like, that's not what you're doing. You're controlling Lakitu.
Again, it was different. And again, no second analog stick. We have a better solution to this now. I understand. If you're just telling me that Mario 64 just controls poorly in general, that's wacky, dude.
Yes, that is. Mario feels so good in that game, running and jumping and long jumping. Oh, my God. That game feels so great to this day. So I'm with Mike. It was mostly like they figured out most of the issues and solved them right away from Mario 64. And the rest of the industry took a while to catch up. Bubsy 3D, not so much.
Right.
From Low Rule, Jeff said on stream today that Metroid Prime is better than anything on the N64, clearly taking a shot at Ocarina of Time. But then I remember today's April Fool's. You almost got me, you cheeky bastard. Yes, Metroid Prime is better than Ocarina of Time. The thing about Metroid Prime is that it's like, it's very similar to Ocarina of Time in terms of like Z targeting and exploring with items and stuff like that. It's like, it's definitely a successor, and yet it's like it more well paced and it looks great and everything. All the discovery is so good and all the abilities are so freeing in this 3D space, and the jumping is good.
I mean, Wind Waker's better than Ocarina of Time. I like Ocarina of Time a lot. It's also a very important game for sure. If we want to talk about being important, it'll get some points. But yes, I think we are both very much on team GameCube is better than Nintendo 64. I'm kind of down on the N64 in general, Jeff. Like, it's not anywhere near one of my favorite consoles. Like, I'm not gonna say it's trash. Obviously, my big thing with it is Mario 64. That's what I like the most, and I don't think anything ever actually was quite as good as that.
I love the N64, and I still like the GameCube better. I do. Hey guys, I apologize. This is from Colin. I apologize ahead of time if this is a question with no good answer or an answer that is so obvious as to not warrant discussion. But why is Sony always 3 steps behind in technical features? They finally dropped ALLM, which is like the gaming, can automatically switch to gaming mode. I can't remember what ALLM stands for. Automatic latency, something. I don't care. PS5
Magic mode.
Yeah, but still no VRR or smart delivery system on Xbox. Not to mention things like Dolby Vision or for gaming and 4K 120 is also less prevalent on PS5 games. How come? Excuse me, hang on, I gotta blow my nose real quick, Mike. Can you answer any of this?
No, that's gonna have to be all you. So I'm just going to talk around in circles until your nasal passageways have been cleared up and emptied of snot.
Cool. Well, thank you. Basically, Sony just has to pick and choose where they invest their money. And they know what people actually care about is games, and they have the games, so this other stuff can kind of just come when it's ready. And they are working on it, and they have people who are very good at making this stuff, but they're like, hey, it's actually not super important if it's there day one, and they're right. It's not actually the most important that this stuff is available, because people just want their games to look pretty, and they don't need all this other stuff to really do that.
You know what it is, Jeff? Sorry, not to go back to GameCube and 64, just kind of reading chat a bit. So I think both consoles have very good top-tier games. I think I like the GameCube top-tier games even more. But mid-tier GameCube games are still very good and interesting to me. Mid-tier Nintendo 64 games are kind of awful.
Yeah, I mean, like I like stuff like Goemon and Battle Tanks and stuff, but they are definitely distractions as opposed to like full-fledged awesome games to this day, which I think you're right when it comes to the GameCube. Like GameCube still has a lot of those.
And much better third-party support.
Yeah, and I mean, I like I like some of the multiplayer games on N64 to this day, but I'd still rather go back and play like Mario Strikers on GameCube and stuff like that. So like that's just like a real actual, that's a game that holds up to today. So yeah. All right, 2 more. Danger Man Leap. Several points. Breath of the Wild sequel being delayed isn't a shock. They were always saying aiming for 2022. Feels weird when people were insistent on a 2022 release date. Yeah, I mean,
You say the word 2022, we're
right.
gonna kind of maybe not hold you to that, but it's setting expectations.
And controversial, I don't think the decline of in-person gaming events is not good in the long run because studios and publishers can be less transparent, at least my feeling. Maybe you're saying that he does think it's bad because that enables them to be less transparent. I get that. But I don't know. I don't know if in-person events really affect them one way or the other with that stuff. But I'm hopeful that we can get in-person events because it does enable more deals to happen and creates more interesting games in the long run, I think. All right, last one from Simon or maybe Simone, depending on whether or not that's a speck on my screen above the O. How does Kirby make the car go? The car is pretty much abandoned and fucked up, but somehow you hear regular combustion noises from it when Kirby is wrapped around it. What is Kirby using as fuel for the car? How did he turn it on without the key? I need answers. So
it's got a black hole in there, so
yeah. So like, what could come out of that black hole? Like that's the thing we never.
Anything.
That's right.
Fuel, new engine parts. You know, like transmission liquid or whatever.
Dark magics. The dark side of the Force and all that stuff. Whatever brought back the Emperor in that last movie. That's what's in Kirby's mouth.
Somehow Kirby is back.
Somehow Kirby has returned. All right, Mike, that does it for questions from the community. I think we got quite a few more super chats in. So if you want to go for that.
Let's go through these. Jodicus asks, Jeff, which is first, a restraining order or moving again when Mike delivers a birthday present to one of your girls that is none other than Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not a Second Amendment guy, but we'll see. We'll see.
I'm not a Second Amendment guy. Toad Pack Shakur says, Minotti, more like Mike Minotti. You can join my Game Pass family plan anytime you want. Jeff, just work on being a better person.
I'm so sorry, Toad Pack Shakur. I'll do my best.
This is the best super chat we've ever gotten. Thank you, Toad
Pack Shakur has definitely like on Twitter is like this too, where it's just like Mike rules, Jeff drools, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
fair enough, Toad Pack Shakur.
Those are good opinions. Luke Toad asks, is Elden Ring Game of the Year, yes or yes? Jeff and I have actually both beaten Elden Ring this week, so we're going to talk about it
yes, we are.
A bit more here after the questions are done. Visualizer says, I was listening to the archive from an hour ago, but had to skip to the live stream to say, damn, did Mike get Jeff good with that April Fool early in the show? Well played, Mike. Well played. Please have some gas/lunch money. Oh, that was a generous super chat.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Visualizer. It's very nice. Yes, I am very funny. Kyle Martin says, I am officially one trophy away from the Elden Ring Platinum.
Ooh, good for you.
What am I supposed to do with my life now? Well, look, if you like Elden Ring, there's a game that's like it, except it's a 2D game, but it's still open world and it's kind of dark and it has really interesting lore. And it's called Hollow Knight. And that's what you should play next if you haven't played before. You can get a platinum in that even. Slippery Moose Cakes asks, Jeff, when are we getting a new Pajama Sam game?
I mean, any minute now. Any minute.
What's Ron Gilbert up to these days? I don't even know.
Yeah, he did that one game like earlier this generation, right? And
He did, yeah, Timbleweed Park, which was like, it was pretty good.
Right.
Ending didn't quite hit with me, but it was a good game if you're a fan of those old school adventure games. And then Nate Lechner asks, what's up with the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake? I mean, they're just working on it. I don't think anything's gone wrong. Just probably hasn't been too much to say. Hopefully we get like a release date or something maybe during the summer Game Fest and all that stuff. I'm really excited. Dragon Quest III is a very good RPG, especially for like an older JRPG. Like you're usually expecting it to be kind of wonky and whatnot. And it kind of is, but it's mostly just good. It might actually be the JRPG for Jeff because it's pretty light on story.
Right.
It's fun stuff. Maybe I'll make Jeff try out the Dragon Quest III HD 2D.
Here we go.
Yeah. And then Zizzy asks, what is your favorite WrestleMania moment? So I was at WrestleMania 23, which was in Detroit. Gosh, I can't believe how long ago that was. So that was an incredible experience. I had a ton of fun. The Undertaker's entrance during that show was just incredible because they always they build it up so much. There's so much going on. It was in this giant football arena. He was going to fight Batista. We were all very excited, and they had an awesome match. But the energy for just that Undertaker entrance was absolutely ridiculous. So that would probably have to be mine. Jeff, do you have a favorite WrestleMania moment?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched a ton of them live ever, but I don't know. When I've gone back to watch stuff, I really do like that early match between Macho Man and what's the dragon guy?
Oh, Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah, Ricky Steamboat.
Or WrestleMania 3. That match
3
is fantastic. That's kind of like one of the first modern matches.
Yes,
that's fast paced.
That's what it was exactly. It seemed like, oh, this defined the future. This is what wrestling was like after this. Yes, exactly.
Yes. No, that's a very good answer. That's a great match. Some of my other favorite matches, Stone Cold versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13 is incredible, and Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker from WrestleMania
yeah, I love that too,
25.
yes.
Very high up there for me. I am kind of bummed. Like I'm so out of WWE. I don't think I'm gonna actually watch anything from WrestleMania. Like
I mean,
because
I have the fucking subscription. I could just turn it on.
Yeah,
because it's part of that NBC thing, Peacock. So
yeah. Oh, that's right. It is, huh? I don't even think I have Peacock though. So I don't know. Like I'm mostly interested to see if Cody shows up, which I assume he will, just because again I've been watching AEW. We got one that just came in, and this is from Ariel Delgado. Thoughts on Nintendo acquisition of Mario? Big, in my opinion. What are you talking about? I was
yeah,
it's a joke.
Yeah, they finally acquired Mario. Mario's been working independently with them for a long time.
It turns out Tommy Tallarico has owned Mario all along.
I mean, he's gonna be able to afford a second Ferrari now, so big deal for him.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, that is it for Super Chats. If you guys still want to squeeze some in there, we will get those on before the show's over. But, Jeff, we have both beaten Elden Ring. Jeff, that is a very, very good video game.
It is wildly beyond my expectations for what I thought that game was going to be.
I am embarrassed of that video we made after we played it for like a few days where I seemed kind of down on it because game is brilliant. Clearly one of the best games made in a long time.
I mean, what is it? It's that it just keeps going. It's that it's every space feels so bespoke and well designed and
very well designed open world with just constantly you're discovering things and they're interesting and there isn't necessarily a big pattern to it. There's kind of one you pick up on eventually where you kind of understand where caves are and what you're going to get towards the end of those in those towers that gets you like more of the magic things or whatnot. But generally there's just a lot of variety. What you could be seeing, you never know when a boss is just going to show up. And like the one thing that it does so well, it's kind of the one thing that I do want. I hate like being like these people like Breath of the Wild needs to learn lessons from this. I love that there are areas we are suddenly just in like a Dark Souls level, right?
Yes.
The Magic Academy was such a
Yes,
great
God, it's
area.
awesome.
Yeah, those different castles, the capital city, the Halig Tree. I loved that, like just like this weird tree fort city. Super good. So, yeah, it's just the world just kept getting bigger, but somehow never any less interesting or exciting. And because it is so light on story and mostly just about lore, you're just constantly going. You're constantly actually playing the game. You're having fun with that. You're constantly thinking about your build.
Right.
You're sharing your experiences either like immediately with these strangers or, you know, kind of whenever with your friends. Just working on so many different cylinders.
Yeah, and maybe it is like the best example of From's understanding that single player games are multiplayer games, and they've built that stuff in from the beginning where you could summon people into their games. Well, this game has summoning, and you could play with other people, strangers. You could play with your friends. You could leave messages for your friends by like adding like a community password for like your community and like just talking to them. You can add messages for everyone else who's playing, and that stuff exists in the game. It continues out of the game, and it's kind of amazing that they figured that out so long ago, and it's been a part of all of their games. And it just makes so much sense in an open world game where you are discovering one thing after another, and it feels like you stumbled across a secret. And when you do, then you go read the messages, and the people are like making references to that secret, like, "Oh yeah, we all did this. This is great." That stuff feels so good. If it's never felt better than here, and it's like, okay, other games actually need to start stealing this stuff immediately. We need messages like this in every game. We need, I mean, instead of actually the streamlined co-op, I almost prefer, like, let me just, like, summon people when I need them at a boss fight or and whether that's a stranger or someone I'm playing with. That stuff, it just makes it feel so much more like this experience I'm doing with other people than so many other games. I don't know. It's really well thought out.
And I was having a lot of fun sometimes just being in an Xbox party with my brothers or a friend, and we'd just be playing. And if like one of us got to a boss, was like, "Hey, you want to come help me do this boss?" And then we would.
Yep.
And we'd all discover a boss the first time. We would like take like turns, like helping the other people fight him and summoning the other people. And yeah, sometimes like I will just like summon a couple strangers in and do a boss with them, and that worked well. Or I actually had a lot of fun being the person being summoned to help fight bosses. Especially the one guy, I can't remember exactly if it's Malakath. I think it's Malakath. There's a lot of similar names. The one who's really hard in that second phase, anytime he hits you, even you block it. Yeah, and he takes away your health. I had fun trying to help people do that just because everyone got romper stomped.
Yeah.
And it was like watching Jackass. I just laughed. It was hilarious. Like they would get to that second phase and it would just be bad. Sometimes in the first phase, like if the first phase is going this rough, they're not gonna last very well in the second phase, and they wouldn't. So I think I went 30 tries before I actually helped somebody beat that boss. Maybe the reoccurring factor was me. I don't know, but
a lot of times like I would get to a hard boss. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna ask for help. Like I know there's ways to figure this stuff out. I'm not gonna take the time. Like I'm just not going to. So I'll call someone in and I'll get like, all right, clearly I need to just keep calling people in until I get the person who knows what they're doing.
Yes.
And so I would just keep doing that and then get the person who's like, oh no, here, I got this. I'm like, oh great, cool, I'll help, but cool, thank you.
I had to do that for the girl in the Halig Tree, the one who like steals your health every time she hits you. Just because I was like, I'm a pure melee build, and I'm like, I need some magic help with this because I am just not going to be able to do this by myself.
I mean, they clearly designed many of these bosses for you to have help, and whether that is your spirit summons or more likely calling in a friend. Like,
sure,
like they designed it that way, and that's so it's fun. Like they kind of frees you up. I think it's the whole game is that where they designed it in such a way that it is very hard in many instances. But there are release valves on that tension, and whether that's calling in people or walking the other way, just going out in the world, be like, oh yeah, there's this whole part of the map that I discovered earlier and I didn't explore. Let me go do that now. Oh, now I'm more prepared for this fight, and I feel more confident because I have all this stuff. But also, you improved your skills through all that time as well. It's such a smartly designed game. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a zillion ways you can help yourself. You can just go online and like find some help from some message or some video. And even like summoning people doesn't immediately make it easier per se, because the boss does get
Absolutely.
like, more health and other
Yep.
things. I was stubborn about the last boss. Like, no, this one I'll get on my own. Like, I had my summon person, like my whatever. But I wasn't summoning people. I was like, this one I'm gonna do by myself like a big boy, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was doing that a lot, and then at the end, I'm like, I actually just want to beat it. So that for that last boss, I called in people, and they were not helping. And then I got two people who had the exact same build, and it was just the giant hammer. And so I had the Hammer Bros, and actually one was named Throat Goat, and and the other one's like Hammer Go Bonk or something like that. So I had Throat Goat and Hammer Go Bonk just wailing on the boss as I'm standing back just firing my magic, and it was so much fun. I'm like, I have no qualms with this. Is how I beat the final boss. Like I was like trying to cheese the fire giant, and then I'm like, actually this isn't working. I'm just gonna go fight him and beat him the first time I tried that. It's like that's the way it goes. Like if you want to give it a shot, you're gonna be able to beat these bosses. They're all just punch out bosses where it's like you're gonna learn the pattern, and if you learn the pattern, you're gonna be fine. It's just that matter of like executing that stuff, and that can be frustrating, but that's also the reward in a lot of cases. And if you don't feel like you have time for that, well, the game gives you pathways out of that, and that's awesome. It's awesome that to that end, it really is the most accessible and approachable Elden Ring game, or I'm sorry, From Software game ever. I think.
From Software,
yes.
Well, I mean, I talked before. Like, I wasn't that much into them before. Like, I even beat Bloodborne and thought it was, good, but I didn't have a special attachment to it. I have a special attachment to this. It's something I'm going to think about a lot years after playing it. It's something I might even want to play again at some point. Some of that even like, because like we have this weird brand attachment to it, because so much of your early leaking stuff was about Elden Ring, right? But even back then, like I would even say, like, it's funny because I don't even care that much about this game. Ha ha ha. It turns out that game's fantastic. So really cool stuff. And I tell you what, imagine how well Elden Ring 2 is going to sell in its first week.
Yes, absolutely. Woo. I'm really looking forward to whatever they do next.
Like 8 years or whatever, but man.
And whatever. Awesome. They deserve to take their time. Yep.
Remember, so much of why people ask you about Elden Ring is because, like, oh, it's been a while since we hear about it. Turns out they were just making a very big and good game.
Yeah, they were basically making like 4 games in one in terms of the scale of this thing. It's it continues to blow me away how big that game is. It's so much bigger. Then you're just like looking at the map and they're like, oh wait, there's this whole underworld map as well.
Yeah.
What a game. Mike, Tunic is very good, and you need to play it immediately.
Yeah, that's something I want to do here. Hopefully going to start that today. I mean, I even started installing it, but I told myself I'm not starting this until I beat Elden Ring. It's probably why I did eventually get on I think all of the big optional bosses I knew about. Let's beat Elden Ring, then we can play Tunic.
Yeah, I was just definitely doing the same thing, and I'm like, that's why I also was like, at the end, I was ready to be done with Elden Ring. Like, I had played for 150 hours, and I was having a great time still, but I'm like, oh, okay, other games are coming out, and they're starting to pass me by, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to be done. Let's finish this game, and I'll start up Tunic and see if it's like, can possibly fill the same space in my life that Elden Ring's been filling, and so far, it has, and a lot of it is because it is mysterious, and I mean, you've heard people talk about it, or in reviews or whatever. But like finding the manual pages, it looks so incredible. There's this mysterious language that you don't know how to read, and there's some stuff in English. But you're definitely like, oh man, I didn't know I could even do this, and I could have done this from the beginning of the game, and it's right here in this manual, kind of like showing me I could do it. I should go try. Oh, it does work. That's incredible. The whole game is that where it's like, I think maybe I've had all of these abilities from the beginning, but I didn't even know I could do this. And it's
Symphony of the Night style. I like that. Yeah, it's like you're not discovering the ability, you're discovering how to use an ability you had all along.
Yeah, and it's like if you would have just known that the button did this, if you did this with the button, like, oh, okay. That's fantastic. That's a really cool thing that they pull a couple times. And they also do that with the map where it's like there are pathways and shortcuts where it's like, if you had known that shortcut was there from the beginning, you could have like just cut off this entire section and come around the back and like, oh, that's incredible. Like, I can't believe they've done this, and they do it repeatedly. That stuff really super duper works for me. The combat is like a Zelda meets From, where it's there's definitely, they're difficult. All the enemies are pretty difficult. The bosses are very difficult. You're gonna need to do your timing and your dodges. You have your iframes, like the little manual even shows you like where the iframes are in terms of your roll. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just really enjoying it. It's such a cool atmosphere. It is fun to just kind of unravel this mystery. And I just, every time I pick up the Steam Deck and I hit the button to turn it on, and I'm like even thinking like, oh, okay, I might go like play some Dolphin, or I might try to get some of their old games I've been meaning to get set up on there, and I'll hit the button and Tunic will pop up because that's what I was playing. And it was just in suspend mode. I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'll just start playing Tunic again for another couple of hours, and it's been fantastic. And I'm just gonna keep. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play this game until I beat it, just like I was doing with Elden Ring. So I really do think you start it as soon as you can. I'm looking forward to talking to you about it. Any update on Kirby?
I beat Kirby last night.
Okay.
And it was a great. The last like act is very good. I've gone on about how good Kirby's Adventure is with its like final bosses and the builds of that. Like this was on that same page. It goes hard for the end stuff there, and it was great. I liked it a lot. Like the final boss actually killed me a couple times, which was very pleasant in a Kirby game. It was surprising and fun. And there's like actually a post game to it, so there's still more stuff for me to do.
Well, then.
So I am happy.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, like spending more time with it. But like I said, every time I try to play it, my kids are like, "I want to play with you." So I'm fine with that. That's a good game for that. It actually that co-op mode works really well for playing with kids. So I have no qualms with that. But yeah, Mike, I think that probably wraps us up. Should we get out of here?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right, I'm hitting the button. I'm pretty hungry, so I'm gonna go get some lunch.
I'm hungry too. Yeah, same.
Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Tolkoto. Check out 90s Disney, our 90s Disney podcast at 90sdisney.com. Our new episode actually went up today, or is going up. I don't know if it's up yet, but it's about Disneyland Paris / Euro Disneyland. So it's good stuff.
Euro Disney was kind of a joke early on, right?
It was a disaster early on, and they righted the ship. Yes.
Okay, very cool. I'm excited to hear that history. That's very cool. I am Jeff Grubb on Twitter. Seriously, join our Discord, discord.gg/GameMess. We're doing a bunch of community game nights right now. We're doing sort of a preliminary sort of thing with Mario Party, where we got someone to win a game, so now they're going to be playing with us. But we'll probably be expanding.
Fight for the right.
Yes, we will be expanding our March Madness, our April Madness thing, and probably do this again with a larger pool of players if anyone's interested in playing Mario Party with us. But yeah, we also do big game nights where everyone can play Mario Kart every Saturday. We get a ton of people into our tournament, which is ongoing. Come hang out with us. It's
the
great.
Overwatch thing.
Yes, that seemed like a lot of fun watching you guys play. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I don't know, Mike. I'm gonna be packing up again this weekend, so hopefully I don't get sick again. How about you? You got any plans?
Just some slight hanging out here and there. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I think we'll stream that Mario Party game if we play Sunday. And oh yes, okay. If you are in the Patreon, or if you are in the other channels by subscribing to my Twitch or whatever, this Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, I will be doing the March Q&A. So there you go. There's your warning. Tune in. I do it inside the Discord on a Discord stage. And you have to be like a supporter to get in. That's what we've been doing. But it's a small, intimate thing. It's a lot of fun. People are able to ask questions about, what's going on with me. Ask questions about the industry. Ask whatever you want. Ask questions about Mike Minotti. I just make up the answers every time anyone asks about that. So yeah, feel free. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Until then, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
Bye.
The forbidden word.